Hi guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the trade review for June 12th, 2014. Man, fantastic day. First of all, the range had expanded and I've been anticipating this for a couple of days and have really met my primary objective. My primary objective when the range gets real tight, when the rotations get tight, was simply to both step myself and help my clients, my coaching clients, right? Step through the process of not getting run over while the market is tight, meaning taking lots of little trades that add up to lots of little losses, right? Or even the vice versa, right? Getting into the pattern, taking lots of little trades for real small profits, and then as soon as the range expands, what happens to most traders who get into that pattern is they get run over. And I would say that mission was accomplished, and I would actually give myself an A overall over the last 2 weeks for being able to navigate through that successfully. That was a big objective after February, where from a coaching perspective it was a bigger challenge. I made a slight shift in the way I was approaching the market when the ranges got tight in terms of how I was communicating it, and I did a much better job the second time through than I did the first time through. So that being said, this morning what we were looking for, again, the consistent pattern has been over the last 3 days has been that NQ has been strong and ES has been weak, meaning ES has really struggled to even get gap fill. And you can see this morning we had the exact same issue. Here is the gap, here is NQ. It didn't quite open drive lower, right? It really just kind of opened and sat there almost for the first entire hour, right? We accomplished almost exactly nothing in the first hour. And if you tried to trade this, look, this is a 2-point range, guys, right here. That is I don't know how other people trade it, but that's simply not worth the risk to me. And what's the risk? The risk is that if you get caught the wrong way, right? First of all, in a slow market, this move down right here, in one move, doubled the range, right? And there was no way to tell here whether we were going to go this way or we were going to go this way. And so I don't know how you position when we're just bouncing sideways and it's an all or none proposition. And when there's no movement, there's no momentum, you catch no one out of place. Okay, so long story short, that is my that was a difficulty and has been a difficulty every single morning. But here's what changed this morning, right? If you look at NQ, here's NQ, and look, here's gap fill on NQ, and every other morning, here we can pull this over, all right? Every other morning, NQ has been able to achieve gap fill and then some, right? Here's gap here, we filled it here. Here's gap fill here. We obviously hit it right out of the gate. This was the first clue that really clued me off that there was actually a problem this morning. Was we were unable to get gap fill this morning in NQ. It's been the strongest out of the gate every day. As a matter of fact, we took it long right out of the gate, almost right out of the gate at 37.83 and change. And we were actually able to ride that up for the last scales were, I believe, 9 points. We didn't quite get 10 out of it, but 9 points to the upside on that scalp, which was a very nice trade. And then we kind of just stopped there and said, well, wait a minute, let's kind of reassess what the heck is going on here so we can figure out how to position. Now, I did take a second scalp in NQ this morning, right in here, thinking that we would hold below. This is where I took that second scalp, and the thought was that we would hold below prior day's low and then get the move to the downside. So I don't always nail the move exactly. And then the other issue that I had here was I simply used too tight a stop. I was using about a 3-point stop to make this work, and I really should have put my stop below what was Globex low, which is what this area is right here. Correct. So long story short being that if you look at it going into 10 o'clock, this day actually wasn't all that spectacular yet. We had achieved our goal. We had a nice trade on NQ to the upside. And in ES, really, we had pretty much nothing at this point if you go back to the ES chart. And if you'd been in the room, I'd actually given up on this day. And the reason why was and I had said this, and if I can edit the software, because it's just a long recording, I was on for almost 2 hours yesterday morning into this session. But at this point, I was saying, look, I'm not going to take the trade here. I simply have no rotation. Okay, rotations are critical to my entries. I simply have no rotations, and what I wanted was to get up into this location, first time back up, and I just didn't think I was going to get it, and I pretty much figured my day was over at this point, going into 10 o'clock. Usually I like to get my trading done by 11 a.m. And I was profitable on the day, which is all right. That had fallen into my consistency of A, not forcing trades, B, taking what was offered, which was NQ, gave me a beautiful trade to the upside, and then I had essentially missed the rotation lower, right? And then the concern from the market preview, and I guess I need some editing software. I just haven't had time to pay enough attention to that to get it done. My concern was that we would push through this poorly auctioned area to the downside, and my lament was at this point, as we pushed in, was that, and then we kind of got hung up right in this area, was that I wouldn't be able to get positioned for the rollover to the downside. But I'm a pretty disciplined trader, and I generally will not force a trade where I can't get good position or I can't get a good rotation. So I actually had shut down and said I didn't think there was a whole lot to do right about 10:15 in the morning, and then lo and behold, right afterwards, we got this push right up into Wednesday's low, which I was very grateful for, and obviously that's where I positioned for that 1938.50. Right now, what was my risk here? My risk was that we would come back up and complete this move and close the gap, just like we did yesterday afternoon, right? It hung up all afternoon and then pushed in. I just felt relative to the risk reward and the fact that we had broken down to that poorly auctioned area. When I have a zone like this on my chart, it simply means that it's a weak zone when I don't put any color to it and it's just these thin lines. It is a zone, but I tend not to take these trades because my concern is in poorly auctioned areas that will auction straight through it and roll down to the next significant support area, which is exactly what we did. We just happened to be able to garner a rotation out of this zone this time. The problem with this trade is it becomes a 50-50 trade, and that's simply not high enough win to loss ratio for me to take the trade in that location. However, in NQ at the same time, 1926 rolled in at almost the exact same time. And again, I trade both markets simultaneously, right? And I had highlighted this area prior to the open as being an area I wanted to do business, as 37.75 to 37.76, and 37.78. And I did take a long out of this area and was able to actually achieve quite a nice profit on that trade, although the majority of it was taken out for 4 points. Nonetheless, that was a good trade. And it was good area. It was a good location for me. I'd highlighted it prior to the market being an area I wanted to do business in. Okay, and the reason for the quick scales and the reason why I wasn't able to carry it out for another 10 points or 15 points, which was available, was because my concern was ES was sitting in that poorly auctioned area. Without going into greater detail, I sure hope that makes sense to the people who are not my coaching clients. I know the guys who have been in my room on a regular basis. They understand exactly what I mean when I say that. The other thing that I noticed was, of course, at this point, we had been unable to achieve gap fill. Additionally, right, we had now started setting a series of lower highs and lower lows on almost every time frame, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 1 minute time frames. So all of this was very critical to me. Again, I'd given up on the short side of the trade at this point in ES because I couldn't get enough an extension up. And my concern was at that point, if this is making sense, is that ES has been kind of a limp noodle the last 3 days, right? Even when NQ has been going up, ES hasn't been following, just like this afternoon, right? If you look at this example where we really, shorts got jacked at the end of the day on this NQ trade, but look at what ES did at the end of the day. I mean, it moved up, but it wasn't overwhelming. Let's look here. Here we go. So, I mean, it did move up, but it certainly didn't look nearly as impressive as the NQ trade did. It moved up essentially from 1925 to 1932. Well, I guess it's a 7-point stretch. I guess it was just relative to where we were. So, at any rate, I posted this in real time that I took this trade, and I also posted that if we could get back below this 1937 and change that we had a really good chance of hitting 1929 to 1927 and 3/4. I posted that, as a matter of fact. I can pull it up right here. Right, I was quite clear on what my objective was, and I said, let's see if I can get through here. Let's see here. Let's get into 10:30 a.m. Okay. First of all, I posted in the morning, 9:26 a.m. We're unable to get through gap fill, right? And then I also pointed out that failure to get back above, and I guess I should have added hold above 1936 and 3/4, opens the door to 1929 and 1/4 to 1927 and 1/4, which was it wasn't an objective, but it was the next logical location for the market to move through. And then finally, you can see at 10:30, about 15 minutes after I'd given up getting a trade, it gave me the exact entry that I was looking for. I took to 1938.50 to the long side. Now, I want to point something else out here really clearly, because everyone knows that I was able to achieve this scale. So the next thing someone asked me is, I did take a trade right here at 1929 1/4, and someone text messaged me and said, hey, don't throw away a good day, don't start buying down here, right? Because the guy was trying to be nice. He was saying, don't give back your profits, basically. And that's totally cool, except I had a trade plan, and my trade plan called for me for taking along out of this area. You'll notice I had it marked as strong support. Prior in the market preview, I said I would be taking along in that area, and it was prior to the last hour and post New York lunch. It had met all my requirements. Now, in the trade zone, guys, you all know that I have a 25-minute rule. What that 25-minute rule says is, if I cannot achieve my 2 points in 25 minutes, that I need to either move stops up to swing low, 1 point beyond swing low, take the trade out at wherever it is, right? Or take a portion of the trade out. And usually what I do is I simply close the trade after 25 minutes. I'm more than able to achieve my profit goals in that time frame. So let's count in here. I took the long at 1929 1/4. This was the first touch. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. At this point, I'm mentally bringing the stop up to about right here. Is where I'm going to take that trade up, right? When we got in here, if you took this trade anywhere except the top of the zone, meaning you took middle to back of this zone, and again, I was committed to this area, I took right at the top of the zone, but if you took anywhere from middle to back, you should have been able to achieve your profit target of 2 points quite easily. In my particular case, I took it right at the top. I wasn't able to achieve the top of the zone, and right when we were up here and we came to, on the ask, we hit 7 out of 8 ticks, and I had posted that I was taking a scale for 5 ticks, and essentially I consider that where the trade should have been closed out for the majority of you. Now, I had a monster day on my hands, and I did leave a trailer to try to get a move to the upside. That trailer was stopped out, but it really had no negative impact on my day whatsoever. And in terms of counting the trade count, I would count that most of my clients either achieved the 2 points or achieved the 5 out of 8 ticks, and were able to move on to the next trade. In this case, there was no next trade. The other point is this. Look, not only did the 25-minute rule keep me safe, the trade location was good. We hung up here for almost an hour in this location. That's plenty of time to get an opportunity. All I'm looking for out of those zones is trade location. And the trade location gave me the opportunity to hit the 2 points, and it kept me safe by giving me a chance to exit without running me over. The last piece is, the concept was correct. Look at this rotation back to the upside. Did I miss this zone? Maybe. I'm going to have to go back and look, but the idea is that we will come back in by this morning, because this is the middle of the night, since I went to bed early here, that we'll be able to come in here. My guess is we're going to test this 1921 to 1923, which is going to translate. That's the old contract. Tomorrow I'll start trading September contract, but on the you essentially take away 7 1/4 points, and I am pretty sure that we will come in and give this a test at some point today before we give a move back to the upside. At least that's the concept I'll be operating off of, right? So the point is, the concept was correct. looking for the trade back to the upside, you cannot be fearful when the market is rolling over like this, okay? My goal is to take trades, right into the heart of aggression. Here. This is all what I'm looking for in my trading. Why? Because this is exactly what we need, is trade dislocation, right? In order to catch other traders who've gotten stretched or panicked, right? So that we can catch them on an upside move. And even if you look at the concept of where I entered, right? We entered trading from 1929.25 all the way up to 132.25. Now, I wasn't going to take a ride all the way to the back of this zone here after so much time had spent, and it wasn't a zone, excuse me, just to the back towards the zone, right? All I'm looking for out of these zones is one thing, a pause. If it pauses and rotates, that's the bonus. That usually happens for me, at least about 70% of the time, right? And then the last piece is I'm looking to sidestep out of the way when it doesn't give me that 2 points. Just take a little gentle step off, take my profits, take my risk off the table, because I have one simple primary conviction about the market, which is this is a never-ending stream of trading opportunities. I don't have to trade any one particular market. I don't have to take any one particular trade, and there's no such thing as a missed trade. If I miss a trade, it simply means I have more to learn, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing, right? So I don't get agitated. And just the same, right? Had you missed, quote unquote missed, right, your entry to the short side up here, right? You still had plenty of opportunities for the first test back down below to capture 2 points. Did you capture the 8 to what was eventually over 10 points, 12 points that was available out of that? No, but neither did I. I don't even care about capturing that 10 points. My basic precept on building my trade account is built around being able to capture 2 points per trade, and all you need to do is do that 1 or 2 times a day and have a structured plan for increasing your trade size, right, based on the profits that have already gone into your accounts, right? And instead of trying to find more and more trades, right, get more and more size on those trades that you know are providing you large numbers of returns in terms of your percentage, right? And instead of playing a get more trades game, you're playing a high percentage trading game, and making money becomes much, much easier. The other objective is, when markets suck and they're not providing opportunities, to stay as far away from my mouse as possible, right? But not only that, but also preparing and understanding the concept that the only thing the market can do to change its pace and make it hard on me, it is change the rhythm, because it can't change the underlying structure of how the market operates, okay? The rhythm is what everyone sees, and it's what they allow fear to come into their trading, because they don't understand the structure that's lying underneath the market. And once you understand that structure, trading becomes a lot easier, life becomes a lot easier, and then it becomes a matter of simply mastering your entries and exits. Anyways, I hope that helped. My name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. I will open the trading room tomorrow morning to the public. I will post that about 7:30 on StockTwits and Twitter. If you would like an opportunity to try the room out for 7 days, simply send me an email to tradeandperform@gmail.com. You can also hit me on Skype or Twitter, and I will get you set up so that you can enter the room. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me as well, guys. The entire objective of this whole project is not to show what I do with my own trading. The entire objective of this is to help other traders go from being frustrated break-even traders to consistent day in, day out money makers, right? And have their P&L curves smooth out and go on a generally upward trajectory. Okay, so no miracles, just solid trading, just good decision making, right? Sticking to a trade plan and exploiting an edge that we know is a real edge. Anyways, have a great night. I'm up early. It's 5:20. I am headed to the pool to put down some laps before the day begins. I hope everyone is sleeping well, or if you're in Europe, you're having a good day. So we'll talk later. And World Cup game's on later today, so I thought it would be dead during the World Cup, but apparently not. So we'll see if we can't catch a couple games in the afternoon. Anyways, talk to you later, guys. Have a great day.